I'm here with Molly Kunz, the star of Wild Eyed and Wicked. Um, so typically when I see these movies ahead of time, I just kind of click on the link and watch it. And I I was thinking of showing like if I showed someone the first 5 minutes of this movie and the last 5 minutes of this movie, they would not believe that they're the same movie. Like it
Yeah.
just takes such a wild turn on this. Um, What did you know about this movie going in, or did you when you read the script were you just as kind of get just as much whiplash as I did watching this?
When I read the script for the first time, I was like shocked and delighted, I guess. I was just so impressed with the turns it took and the metaphor and how well done it was and how unique. I In a very similar vein, I would never have expected when it said like she decides to put on armor and go into the forest. I was like, what? Like, what? Did I read that right? Like, is that correct? And uh, the integrity of the metaphor, I think, marries everything together very well. But you're right. It's all these different genres, and um, you just don't see that. I thought that was really cool and made me really want to be a part of it.
Yeah, and plus like being in different genres, I think they do them well. Like early on, it's like, oh, your character is went through some trauma at a young age, and this is kind of like I'm thinking that this is like a relationship drama, and it
Yeah.
is, but then yeah, it takes that turn and gets into like this sword and sorcery sort of thing, and I'm like, all right, I'm hanging with it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the way it manages to keep you in it is incredible, and the mind games it plays a little bit too with the viewer in the same way that Lily is having these mind games messing with her. You're like, wait, is this real? Is this not real? How much is she seeing? How much is she not? Where, what does this manifestation mean? And how literally do we take this? I think all of those questions are great because they're kind of the same questions that Lily's asking herself.
Yeah, I think a lot of the dialogue in this is real cutting too. When Lily meets her estranged father, and like some of the things like when they get real with each other and they start saying things back and forth, I'm like, damn,
Yeah.
yeah, you guys have some issues to hash out.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, those scenes were great. And I love that they don't pull any punches with each other.
And so like with all the stuff with the armor and like the action scenes, um, oh, first of all, what's it like wearing that? Is that as heavy as it looks, or do you have to do a lot of training in it to be able to move around? Or
Yeah, it's as heavy as it looks. It was the chainmail and plates is like 40 pounds. And then you've got the shield and your sword as well. And I had done my own strength training leading up to shooting the movie. And then I had fencing lessons and broadsword training to get familiar with the way you move, when you're holding the sword, when you're, what's the placement, arm placement, all that stuff and footwork. It was it was definitely challenging to be in that armor for those hours, and um, I was very grateful for the like reality of it, for the authenticity,
yeah,
because you just feel her burden very literally, and like cool to me, and I was really excited to really get to get in there and fight and do it.
Yeah, I like how they kind of incorporated that in the story. Because your character's pretty early on, you know, your character knows how to fence, and then when you get the broadsword, then it's like no, 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 no.
She
This
tries
is
to use it like a foil. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
you gotta
exactly.
use it like this. You gotta kill. You're not trying to poke someone for points.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I thought that was a really great sequence, and I just love that montage. It's so sweet. Like the
Did you
kind
have
of
any? Did you have any like stunt doubles or anything for any of the action scenes?
yeah, so our EP on the film is Gordon's wife, and she's also they own the horse that we used in the film. So she has known this horse for years, and we put her. I climbed onto the horse, but then the riding of the horse was her because it's obviously unsafe to be on an animal that you don't know of that size with the clattering armor, and that's startling and upsetting for horses. So um, she had done that, and then like for time, we had her do some of the fight sequences with the shield down. But I would say most of it is actually me that you see
Yeah, I well,
for most of the film.
I saw an interview with you for The Wolf and the Lion, and you were talking about like not being much of an animal person, being thrown into it. Sounds like you had to go through that again with this with the horse.
Well, yeah. So with the wolf and the lion, I spent 2 years with those animals, actually bonding with them and getting to know them. And that's why we were able to pull all that off in the movie, because I spent years bonding with them, and I met them when they were 5 weeks old. And we established that relationship so that it was safe for me to be around them. So in this case, where I met the horse that day, uh, that's you know um, that's a whole different situation. Like I wouldn't presume to try and ride a horse that I had just met, and particularly with the armor like that, and
Yeah.
knowing animals, and or now knowing animals. Um, yeah, I would never want to put anybody in that situation.
Yeah. And
So
also you talked about like the director of The Wolf and the Lion. You had a really great uh story about talking with the director, and he sat you down and it's like just trust me. And that kind of really rang like two collaborators really knowing how to work together. It sounds like it was pretty similar with this. What kind of, and you worked on a couple like TV shows and movies and such. Like, what's kind of a mark of a great director that's not on screen but more behind the scenes, kind of like that?
I think the mark of a great director is a good leader, and a good someone who lets the crew know how valued they are, and and places his trust in them. I think the easiest way for a director to lose an actor is um, to not listen to them, and to make them feel as though they don't know the character the way the director does. And so what was really wonderful about working with Gordon was how much he trusted me. And we talked at length about Lily, and about her story, and about the broader context of the film, and like really lined up on everything, I think, right off the bat. So it was a great relationship because he I could feel that he just trusted me and that we were on the same page.
Yeah, it's got to be a lot easier working with people like that, especially like in a collaborative art. Like we're all trying to do the thing, we're all trying to get the best out of each other. But
Yeah.
then you hear like stories like of yesteryear of certain directors doing certain things to the actors to try to get a performance out of them that's kind of, I would say, toxic maybe. And so
Mm-hmm.
it's good that you can kind of like, hey, we're all doing the same thing. Let's just work together and get it how we need it. You don't have to trick me or hurt me or do something like that to make the thing happen.
Right. I mean, if a director's doing that, it's just a signal that he doesn't, it suggests a lack of faith in the talent of the actors. If you are tricking them and trying to manipulate them emotionally, all that says is, I don't trust you to be able to do your job correctly. I don't trust you to be able to like bring the emotion that you need
Yeah.
at the time you need it. So, luckily, I've never worked with a director like that, and I hope I never do. um, but yeah, I think it's all about trust, like any other relationship.
What's some difficult roles to get into with acting, like something that might like kind of take a little extra, or like I'm not getting this, like I don't even know how to put it because
Yeah.
I'm not an actor, but like what's some kind of difficult headspaces to get in and really make it seem real?
I think actually a very difficult headspace for me was part of Lily's journey. Um, for me, the very kind of like unhinged fear headspace, like she is literally seeing these things, and that was um I think that was hard for me sometimes because I have very little experience in horror film, and I there's a lot of like extra height, but it's also very technical. um you, you because of all the practical effects and everything, like sometimes you have to see things that aren't there, or you have to, it's going to feel this way to the audience, and you don't see it right now, but like imagine that you feel the thing coming for you and all that. That was like a challenge, I think, for me, and I was intimidated by some of that because my world is I do a lot of drama, I do a lot of relationship drama, that sort of thing. But
What
um,
what's on, I guess on the other side, like what's something that you slide into pretty easy?
drama, relationship drama. Yeah. I mean, the not relationship drama, I guess like interpersonal relationships. I grew up doing a lot of indie, um, indie dramas. So that's something I think I just kind of naturally pop into. And
Oh,
um, yeah.
so how does that work? Again, not an actor, but like actors are kissing or having love scenes in a movie.
Yeah.
And for me, I'd be like, this is no, I can't do that. But that's kind of things actors have to do. Like how do you feel about that, and how do you approach that on set?
Um, it is always weird. I mean, I think people who say it's not weird are probably just lying.
Oh, cool. I'm normal. That's good.
I mean, it is weird. It is weird, of course, but a lot of what actors do is weird. Um, I think the way I approach it mostly is this person isn't like the remembering that like they're not themselves and I'm not myself. So we aren't, we aren't kissing in a way. It's like the character I'm playing is kissing the character they're playing. And um and there's always a lot of like respect there, and a lot of it's actually not romantic, and I think a lot of actors have said this, like kissing scenes on film are not romantic at all. They're kind of like the least romantic thing you can imagine. So you're so divorced from the what would feel like the reality of it, because there's the crew and the cameras and the lights, and people are coming in for last touches to put, to fix your makeup right before you go, and it's it's even like choreographed in a way. So it's yeah, I think it's kind of like it doesn't feel like kissing. Maybe that doesn't make sense, but it doesn't. It's you're sort of removed from it.
Yeah, and then at the same time, you still got to sell it like it is, which
Right.
yeah,
Acting. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
there you go. I was talking with a director of a short film, and there was a character that had their character was like a just real racist, mean person, and they had to say just some horrible stuff, and
Oh.
that's kind of similar side of the coin of like being intimate, but with this, it's just saying and doing absolutely horrible things that you wouldn't say in real life, and that's got to be kind of tough too. But then again, you're the
Yeah.
character, like that. That's not you. That's the character. But
Yeah.
being in like a Tarantino movie, for example, and you got to drop a bunch of N bombs all over the place. Like I don't like doing that normal. Like I couldn't imagine doing that on camera.
Yeah. I can't. I mean, I've never really played characters that are like evil to that extreme. Um,
Would that be a fun challenge for you or difficult challenge, you think?
I think it could be interesting. I mean, I think playing an evil character is sort of fun in a way. I mean, I think it's always fun to play something that's really outside of yourself. Um, and there are a lot of elements to Lily's character that are really far removed from who I am as a person. And I think that's cool, and it almost feels safe um, as an actor because um, because you get to remove yourself to that extreme and just play play with something that's not your reality and that's only existing in this entirely different world.
Yeah. Well, I probably should have opened with this, but like, what got you into acting to begin with? Because I'm looking at your IMDb, and the credits are strictly acting. Usually, people have like a bunch of different things that they've done, and you seem to be focused on just the acting portion. So I'm assuming you love it, but like, what kind of brought that spark and got you started on it?
I started acting. I grew up in Wisconsin, in Madison, and mm, it's a great town for creative arts. There's a lot of theater there. I grew up doing theater, musical theater. I played piano, I danced, I sang. Um, I was always performing, and it was something my siblings and I would do together too. I have three siblings, and we would put on little shows like in our basement for our neighbors and have them come over. And it was kind of like that was how we would play together as kids. We'd create these little shows. And so I think to me, it always felt like this is fun, this is play. And I did theater, and then I moved into, like in high school, I moved into doing indie film and a little bit of TV. And then the projects just kind of got bigger as my career went on. And I think that I've always enjoyed the feeling that I'm really getting better at one thing that, as far as your question about like um, the lack of dipping into other departments. I think I've enjoyed the experience of really getting a, a lot of experience. I've enjoyed a lot of experiences as an actor, and acting is cool because you get to do so many different things. I've done a lot of different types of projects and different types of characters, and it's felt like enough for me. Um, at the same time, I've written things that I've never showed anybody. I like other disciplines within the industry, but I just want to make sure that I always do justice to anything that I do. If I do it, I want to do it well. And so, um, you know, jack of all trades is a master of none kind of thing, maybe.
Yeah. And do you still play piano or do you still play music?
Yeah. Actually, if you saw Wolf and Lion, I play my character's a pianist and I play piano in that movie.
Oh, fun.
Yeah.
Do you get to like do you ever like writing albums or songs or anything, or is it more of a hobby at this point, or do you ever aspire to like maybe one day uh who knows, maybe write a score for one of the movies you're in or something like that?
Oh, I mean, I don't know. There are no plans, but it's a long life, so we'll
We
see. I
we
mean,
hope.
that's the fun. You never know where it's going to lead you. So, yeah. Yeah, we'll
And
see.
and what are some we talked about the script of Wild-Eyed and Wicked, but like just in general when you're reading a script, what's the difference between a script where you're reading it and saying, I'm I want to make this movie, and a script that's like, maybe we'll check the next one. Like what's the secret sauce between a pass and a yes, I'm doing it?
I think I think the quality of the writing. I think that's kind of all it comes down to. I mean, uh, for me, it, a pass would be like this character isn't written well. Um, so in a way, it's also to protect my performance because I can't make a terribly written character sound great or be great, and I
Well,
also
you're a
just
good actor. I think you could probably pull it off.
you can fudge it a little, but like if you're like okay, if I don't find any merit in the story, I don't care to be a part of it. Like because why?
You
That's
wouldn't
not
be
why I'm
making the
doing
same
this.
movie they are, so like you're
Yeah,
not on the same page as each other, that sort of thing.
like I want to be on the same page. I want to feel like the story cares about the same things that I care about, basically, like or care about saying. Um, and a pass for me would probably be anything that's like, hey, this character is not written realistically, or this isn't, um, or I don't appreciate the message, I don't appreciate the story, or like it always has to be a good fit. And there could be someone out there who would be a great fit for that story, but it's just not me.
Uh,
Um, yeah, you have to like be careful to listen to that voice inside and know that you're trying to have integrity with what you put out there.
I don't know that anyone could predict um the wild-eyed, getting wild-eyed and wicked. I don't think that's a character or a story anyone could predict that they would possibly get in the future. That being said, what are some uh roles or movies that you would like to do in the future that you haven't quite tackled yet? We talked a little bit about like a evil character, but it's like, uh, one of these days I'm gonna get this character that's gonna pass through me, and I can't wait for it.
Um, I would kind of love to do, and this is in a similar, it's sort of in a similar vein to Wild Eyed and Wicked, but I would kind of love to play, like, do some sort of epic, like an epic period piece, um, where I like I like playing the hero. I mean, I like playing a heroic character. I like playing someone who's strong and who's smart. Um, and I think it would be really fun to do something on a large scale with like this broad scope of, um, maybe even something like a period piece, like castles and knights and battles and big sweeping, drama. That could be a lot of fun.
Oh,
Um,
I hear they're doing another Lord of the Rings movie, so get on that. Hire
yeah,
Molly, she's good and she wants it.
yeah, I think action is like something I really haven't done a lot of, but getting a taste of it in this movie, I was like, this is fun. This is fun. I could do more of that.
Yeah, I can't remember who I was talking to, but they weren't they weren't a fan of action movies, but they loved acting in them. And it was kind of weird, but at the same time, I get it. It was like the playtime of an action movie is like, oh wow, this is fun. Do you want to watch the movie? Not really, and not my genre, but it was
Right.
fun shooting it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think there are a lot of genres that I think would be really fun to explore. You know, it's really fortunate that I get to play pretend as my job as a grown up. That's pretty um, unusual. So,
Yeah. And so, what are some things that inspire you? Is it like, what's some things that you pull from to kind of add to your tool belt of acting tools, I guess?
um, oh, you mean like from my own life or from like other
Work and
people's?
life, just like, something, I don't know, maybe something will happen or you'll experience something or, you're on a movie and it's like, I'm going to keep that. I'm not using it here, but that's going to be important later. I'm going to use that for something else down the road.
Yeah, I've been really fortunate to work with a lot of talented actors, and I think watching them work has has given me a lot of information about the type of performer I want to be. Um, I think that I've seen actors push back on, on a note they didn't agree with, and seeing them do that and thinking like, wow, I would never do that. But then why wouldn't I? Um, and maybe I should. Or all the best actors I've ever worked with have been just very kind people who are really open to suggestion and really like they keep things open or they improvise. Like there are just yeah, I think there are a lot of lessons I've taken from that. And then as far as acting, like I think being an observer of yourself and other people is important for acting.
When,
Being
so real quick with the pushback on notes, like how do you know when like what battles are worth fighting in that regard? Like
mm,
or at the end of the day, do you just I'll make myself heard if they don't go for it, they don't go for it, but I
sure.
at least want it, out there that this is a thing we should probably do.
I will fight for I will fight for the big emotional moments. Like there are always a few moments in a script where you're like, this is like carrying the thread of kind of the emotional heartbeat of the entire film. And if there's a moment where I'm like, this relationship and what happens here with this power dynamic, this really, really matters, I will say something. I think if it's or if I think if I know the character and if I think that I'm being directed in a way that goes against how they would respond, I will say something. But like, there are other things you just don't need to make a fuss about.
Yeah.
Like especially like it's not your department or something. Like, all right, well, I don't really know if these things would exist in this character's bedroom, but like not my
Yeah.
department, I
Yeah.
guess, you know.
But we'll just pretend it's not there. It's fine. Um, but we have what's in the box segment, and in the box we have a bunch of movies that we'll pick from each week to watch the following week. And these are movies that are either personal to you or a movie that's like, that movie's really good. I wish more people would talk about that. What's a movie you would like to put into that box?
Oh, of like a movie that I think is really good.
Yeah,
I just
like maybe not like 2001 Space Odyssey, but like, oh, there's this off the beaten path indie movie. It's damn near a masterpiece. And no one ever talks about it or no one sees it. Like, something like that.
oh, You know, I'm trying to think of something that like wouldn't have been wouldn't have really been known about that I would have seen. But I I did really like I think I have a very broad, weird, eclectic taste in movies.
That's perfect.
I I really liked Portrait of a Lady on Fire when I saw that. It
Nice.
wasn't, it certainly wasn't like buried or hidden anywhere. It was known about, but it was, I thought that was really good. I also thought Paddington 2 was great. I also thought, I knew, like with Parasite, I knew when I was in the theater, this movie's a masterpiece. Like I
Yeah.
did, and again, not that that was um, unknown by the general population, but
I think Bong Joon-ho in general kind of was. I think a couple people knew of Memories of Murder or maybe Host, but when Parasite came out, I was like, yes, this is gonna be awesome. This is gonna be awesome. Then it like
yeah,
won all the awards and everyone was so surprised. I'm like, I knew it was gonna happen eventually. He's just too good.
yeah, that one. I mean, that was extraordinary, and also, like the horror with a larger message was. I think all of that was just really cool.
Yeah.
Obviously, I love Get Out. Um,
Yeah.
who doesn't?
Oh,
But
Molly, thanks for joining me. And looks
thank
like
you.
Wild-Eyed and Wicked comes out on TVOD, digital, and cable on demand on June 11th. And I would almost say, I mean, we kind of talked about some stuff already, but anyone that hasn't seen it yet, go in as cold as possible because this thing's quite a ride and I enjoyed it quite a bit. And congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you so much. This was fun.